Good evening, everyone. How is everybody doing?
Good evening, Prof.
Happy Friday, everyone. So tonight, we are going to have a very interesting discussion. Uh, we have, I think, Loretta and Mariam are going to help us with our discussion tonight, and we are going to be looking at some interview questions and how Mariam and Loretta did during their interviews, right? But then we also do our usual presentation and look at some of the key mistakes to avoid during your GRC interview questions as well. So there's going to be a lot for our toolbox tonight. So kindly stay till the end, and you are going to gain a lot for your toolbox tonight, right? So with that, wasting much time, we are going to jump in. All right, everyone. So you are very much welcome. This is Eretmis Cyber Chat. We do this every Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. And if you are joining us for the very first time, we do this every Friday night. Like I said, we encourage you to join us. And you are going to always gain something for your toolbox as a security professional, whether you are aspiring to get into a cybersecurity role or you're already in a cybersecurity role. There is something for you to, gain from this, right? And this is a community for you to be able to network and grow in the security space. One of the key things as a security professional you have to do is to network, and this is a very good place for you to do that, right? We encourage you to put where you're joining us from in the chat, and we will give you some shout out when we are about to wrap up for the program. And then also for those who are looking to renew their certifications, you can put hashtag team live in the chat and take a screenshot of that. You will be able to use that to renew your certification as well, right? So we are jumping in. This is brought to you by Eretmis Academy. We are a cybersecurity training institute based out of New York, and we train cybersecurity professionals. We have different variety of courses. If you are trying to start a career in the cybersecurity space or you are switching careers, we encourage you not to look anywhere else because we have what is going to help you to really do that transition. I'm Dr. Emmanuel Ledoux. I'm a former United States Army captain. I'm the CEO of Eretmis Inc. We are a cybersecurity consulting firm, a QSA company. We do QSA, PCI, QSA audits, and we do other cybersecurity projects as well. And the founder of Eretmis Academy, a cybersecurity institute, also based out of New York. I'm a former professor at University of Maryland Global Campus and CTC, and a member of the Forbes Technology Council as well. So tonight I'll have two co-pilots that I'm going to introduce down the line, and they are going to help us with the discussion. And for Eretmis Academy, we are authorized CompTIA partners. And what this means is that we have 20% discount on all vouchers, and we push this discount to our cyber chat attendants, and then also for our students and our Eretmis community members as well. So if you're looking to sit for Security Plus, Security Analyst, any of the CompTIA certifications, if you reach out, we will show you how you get the 20% discount on these vouchers. And for those who are looking to renew their certifications, like I said earlier, you can use cyber chats that you've attended to renew because that shows for continuing educational points. And this goes for CompTIA, CISSP, ISACA, ISE Square, any of those certifications that, if you've taken it already and, you are waiting to renew because 3 years down the line, whatever the case may be, you have to renew for CISA, CISSP and others. You have to show your points, continuing educational points every year. I think it's 20 or 30, depending on the certification. So you can use this also to do that, right? So the time spent here is not wasted. You are gaining something for your toolbox, and also if you have a certification, you also get opportunity to renew it with this, right? And we have a WhatsApp group. The link has been posted in the chat already. You can join and sharing the knowledge and sharing the skills as a security professional, also to network. And everything that we do on Cyber Chat is posted on our YouTube channel. We are transmitting live on YouTube now. And for tonight, we'll be looking at some interesting cyber news, and then we'll jump into our discussion for tonight. 5 common GRC interview mistakes to avoid. Now we'll jump into cyber news. And in the cyber news, our very first news, I'm going to throw this out there to everyone. So I know a lot of folks on here. So, I mean, in today's day and age, you are either using Android or Apple, right? So you are either playing with, you either have a phone, Android phone or an Apple phone, or so either or. When you go to the Apple Store or you go to the Google's Play Store for Android, the apps that are on there, is it safe to download those apps or not? Do these companies, Android and Apple, do they have any structures in place to vet these apps so you know if an app is there, is safe for you to download, or if you have any takes on this, you can kindly bring it up. And we teach this in cybersecurity when it comes to jailbreaking your phone. We teach this predominantly. I don't know if anybody has any insight on this. Are these apps safe? Once it is in your Google Store, your Play Store, or once it's in the Apple Store, is it safe for you to trust and download and use it? Any takers on this? You can raise your virtual hand and give your take. Will you trust an app on App Store? I mean, all of you do because you just go there and you download these apps without thinking about the security of these apps. So it means you trust them, right? AO, please go ahead, and then Abraham. Your name just shows AO.
It's me, Andrew.
Oh,
So
okay.
what I would think is based on SOC 2, I would assume that the owners of that application, I mean, was it what we are looking for, or who
Play
owns
Store,
Play
Google.
Stores, Apple or Android people, they would have done their due diligence to ensure that whoever is bringing on board there has everything, all patches in place, and is secured for their clients. That's what I would assume based on the organization kind it is.
Okay, Abraham, your hand was up, and then also
yeah. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
I think that apps on App Store, uh, there's there's no security measures in place to actually check which apps are reliable or not. So it's kind of open source kind of. So I think any developer can just open to every developer to post or to try to advertise apps over there compared to iOS store. So iOS, in fact, any app on Apple Store is actually regulated because it's actually the system in place to check that the various apps over there are actually patched in terms of they're actually devoid of vulnerabilities compared to Android, so to speak.
Okay.
It's actually Android that all apps are not actually sanitized, so to speak. But for iOS, I believe they are sanitized.
Okay. So anybody else? So actually, Abraham, you made a point, but it's not was accurate. For your Apple Store and your Google Play Store, for anybody to be able to post their app on those stores, it is regulated. It has to go through Google Play Store, whoever, whatever team is managing the Play Store. or for Apple, it has to go through their team. They verify and they vet these apps before they allow it on those platforms, right? So apps that you see on Apple Play Store or Apple Store and Google Play Store, they are supposed to be, code on in quotes, they are supposed to be safe, right? Because they all go through a vetting process before they are allowed on there. So they are supposed to be in compliance with all regulatory compliance. And then for safety, they are supposed to be the most updated, and then also nobody could easily just, hack into these apps. So they go through a testing process before they allow them on there. So it's not just Apple that is regulating that. Google also, like they do the same, right? So the only time that you are not safe, supposedly you are not safe to download these is when you jailbreak your phone, right? So your Apple or your Android, because once you do that, then you are not under the warranty of. So once you do that, it means you can download apps that are outside either your Apple Store or Google Play Store, right? But if you don't jailbreak your phone, then you are restricted to just those apps to download, right? So we assume those apps are safe. Now, why are we discussing this? Let's move into our cyber news. So apparently not Google, Apple is being sued by a customer because they got scammed out of $80,000 based on an app they downloaded from the App Store, right? So they got scammed. It was the app's name was Swift Crypt. It was a cryptocurrency app, and this lady invested 80,000 only for them to just disappear with that money, and the app just went offline. I think some days later. This type of scam, crypto scam, is called pig butchering, and we've discussed this a while ago, some cyber chats ago, right? So if the types of attacks, cyber attacks that if you don't know about pig butchering, add this to your toolbox or to your notes, right? So because this lady, it wasn't like she's not sophisticated or she didn't know what she was doing, but because this app was on the app store, in Apple's setup, she knows, and Apple has been advertising that all apps in the App Store are safe because they are vetted and they are in line with all regulatory standards. So if you see an app in there, and this lady, she's not jailbreak her phone, so her phone was not jailbroken. Everything was directly from Apple. So she downloaded the app, used it only for them to run away with her money, right? So she's suing Apple. And if other customers, who might have experienced this, if they join this suit, then Apple is going to be in some, deep waters, right? So this lady is suing them predominantly, one, because they advertise that their app store is safe. Every app under is vetted before they allow it to be, published. But in this case, that wasn't done, right? So one, she's suing them for monetary damages, and then also suing them to do something about their advertisements because that is not accurate. So and Apple has also, I think they've also confirmed that the app violated Apple's own crypto app standards. So how did it pass the review and how did it get onto the app, right? So if this goes the way of the lady, which probably might, or if other customers also join, then she will probably get some money back. But the lawsuit, they are seeking for damages, regulatory action, and then also corrective advertising, right? Because you cannot say apps go through strict vetting only for an app to just slip through the cracks and somebody's going to lose money, right? So we are watching this news and seeing what that is going to come up, like how that is going to end, right? And then also the next in the news is DDoS attack. So what is a DDoS attack? Before we jump in, what is a DDoS attack? Anyone, you can raise your virtual hand and educate us on DDoS attack. DOOS, DDoS. That is a variant of DOS attack. That is DOS attack. Mike, kindly go ahead. Mike, your hand was up and you just lowered it.
Okay. DDoS attack is a distributed denial of service attack. So it's a variant of or it's a complex form of attack that involves attack from multiple sources. So that's the simplest way of describing it.
Okay. Charles, you also want to give it a shot?
Yes, sir. So I want to just explain this like using normal languages. So I'll say DDoS attack is an advanced DOS attack where the hacker use many computers to do the denial of service attack. So those computers act like zombies to get you. So when there is many computer, it's more easy to break a system.
Okay. Anybody wants to explain this in a way that somebody who is totally new to cybersecurity and have no clue what we're talking about will understand? Abraham, go ahead. And then Lily, you can also give it a shot.
Yes, DDoS attack is basically a distributed denial of service attack where attackers use multiple systems, usually through a botnet, to flood a company's systems with packets in a way to jam it, so that the employees will not be able to access the company's resources.
Okay. So these questions that we are asking or that we're trying to answer, this will lead into one of the big mistakes to avoid during your interviews, right? And I'll show you what I mean. Lily, please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So I just wanted to add that one of the main purposes for is a ransomware. So mostly the attackers want to gain financially from the system. So they flood the services or the database. And the main purpose is to request for finances.
Okay, so a little correction here, Lillian. So DDoS attack, the goal is not for any financial gain because they're not going to get anything. Right? DDoS attack simply is like if you're throwing stones at somebody's car. How will throwing the stones, so many stones at their car at the same time, how are you going to benefit from that financially? Right? You wouldn't get access into the car to steal anything from the car. You are just from the outside throwing balls or stones or whatever at the car, right? You are just, or maybe like stones can even cause very huge damage. Maybe you are just throwing some, maybe rubber balls at the car. So it's uncomfortable. It's going to distract the operations of the car, but you really wouldn't have access to the car. And what I mean is for DDoS attack, you are not going to gain access to their network. So it has nothing to do with ransomware attack, right? When you break it down even further, every form of attack is targeting the three main pillars of what we are trying to protect in cybersecurity, which is confidentiality, integrity, and availability, right? Now, DDoS attack is targeting availability. It is just trying to shut your system off or run your system over where it's not going to be available, right? So there is no way attackers are able to be able to breach confidentiality or even, move into anything on the integrity side, right? So a little bit correction there, Lydian. All right, so we are going to dig into these questions as we move forward, because how you answer these questions during interviews can, make or break you, right? So, and I'll explain exactly what I mean by that, right? So, what this was about, I think somebody keeps on muting themselves. Kindly make sure you're muted. Cloudflare is one of the big players in the security space and in IT space. They've experienced the largest form of DDoS attack ever, right? And this attack, at the peak, it was 7.3 terabytes, and all delivering almost. And so I'm not really going to go too much in depth into DDoS, but simply attackers are flooding our network with a lot of traffic to the point where our systems cannot handle the traffic anymore, so everything shuts down, right? So it's like giving your TV too much power than it can handle, to the point where your TV is just going to, do a big oof and go off, right? That is the goal. You are not going to have your TV on for you to watch anymore. That is the goal of DDoS attack, right? So, and the reason why it is the biggest that or the largest they've experienced is that the amount of traffic. So these 7.3 that you are seeing, or 37 terabytes per second that you are seeing, is just measurement for the volume of traffic that is coming through, right? So if you are totally new to IT or cybersecurity, it is nothing really fancy. Just giving us a sneak peek into the amount of traffic that is being received that is overwhelming the systems of Cloudflare. And they were able to block these forms of attack anyways, right? So just to put that out there, that is probably maybe the largest maybe we've experienced in the security space so far, right? And with that, we are going to move into our discussion for tonight. Now, we've announced, I think 2 weeks ago, that Eretmis Academy has partnered with Climb Credit. So you can finance any course that you want to enroll in through Climb. And they give a very affordable option, and Climb almost approves everybody, right? So if you are looking to join any of our programs, you can look into Climb. And our July 4th sales has begun already. Began yesterday. We're offering 30% off on all courses, and this is going to be the largest discount for the year, right? So if you're looking to join any of the programs and you've been waiting, this is the time for you to jump on there. Right now, we move into the catalog of courses. Our AI governance program. We are starting a new cohort in July, ending of July. So be on the lookout for the date. If you are looking to specialize in AI governance, we encourage you to look into this program. Very, very, very interesting, interactive, and very hands-on. You are going to learn a lot when it comes to AI and AI governance as we use it in our companies, right? So you don't necessarily need any IT background to get into this. If you have some cybersecurity background, it's a big plus. If you don't, that still wouldn't take anything away from you partaking in this, right? And then for our cloud security, a new cohort is also starting in July, ending of July. So if you're looking to master AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, how to maneuver or how to secure these different types of cloud service providers for your organizations, we encourage you to jump into this. Very hands-on and it's vendor neutral. And once you're done, you'll be ready to sit for any of the cloud security certifications out there, right? And for folks who are looking to start a cybersecurity career from scratch, even if you have some IT background, or even if you've done some training elsewhere, like a year, 2 years ago, and you don't really remember anything, we encourage you to look into our cybersecurity entry-level course. This course is very comprehensive. It gives you a very solid foundation in terms of cybersecurity knowledge. And then also the second portion is the internship and workshop, where you get to work and practice on different cybersecurity projects. right? So by the time you are done, you're a full-blown cybersecurity professional who can hold different security roles on the blue side, the defensive side of security, right? And predominantly, you can do virtually almost anything in the GRC space, right? And our PCI DSS, this is the master's program. So for folks already in the security space, or if you have you've been in IT for the longest and you are looking to switch into cybersecurity, we encourage you to look into this. This is a niche that you can master and make your own. Now, reason for you joining PCI DSS than mastering any other framework, this is the only framework that is international. This is the only framework that also cuts across all industries. So whether you're in the health, on the government side, wherever you find yourself, PCI DSS applies there as well, right? And our internship and workshop, the next cohort is starting on the 26th of July. So if you are looking to get some hands-on GRC experience, work on different projects, this is the program that is going to help bridge the gap between knowledge and skill, right? So we encourage you to look into our GRC workshop and internship. Our WhatsApp group, the link has been posted. YouTube channel is also, we are transmitting everything live, and we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, join, share, and spread the word. Now we are going to jump into the 5 common GRC interview mistakes that you should avoid. And one of the items we are going to be looking at, I think when I asked the question about DDoS, it was very obvious, that is one big mistake that we are all making when it comes to breaking down cybersecurity concepts or explaining it to during interviews or even to stakeholders within organizations. And we are going to be looking at this as we move along. Now, tonight, we have the privilege, once we are going to go through this a bit faster, and then we'll have the chance to look at some interview questions from Mariam and from Loretta, looking generally at it. We wouldn't be able to go through all those questions. It's a bit lengthy, but at least we will look at a couple of them and take your inputs on that. And then we'll give the floor to Loretta and Mariam to tell us how they answered these questions and, mistakes that they made. We can also correct them as well. So it's a really, really, really good learning experience for all of us. And we encourage you, if you have any questions, put it in the chat. You can also put where you're joining us from and put Team Live in there to help you renew your certification. So let's jump in. Right. So what is the first item that we are looking at? Now we said 5, right? 5 common GRC interview mistakes to avoid. We are going to be looking at 5 and then an extra 3 or 4, right? So there's a bonus at the end of this also as well. Now, before we jump into the discussion, what do you think, or for folks who've been to different interviews, what do you think were some of the interviews, the mistakes you made, during your own interview, if you were able to identify any? So I'll give the floor at least 5 minutes. You can come up with, so you can just mention, I think I should have done this or should have done that. And maybe probably that is part of the list, right? So I think if we have Mariam or Loretta on here, I'll start with you since you are going to be a co-pilot tonight. So Mariam or Loretta, if any of you are here, you can unmute yourself and, talk about what you think were some of the mistakes you did during your interview process, right? So for Loretta, her very first cybersecurity interview, she's doing a career switch. She's gone through entry level. She's done her internship. She went to her interview, went all the way to the last interview, the very last phase. Even though she didn't get the job, I think she did excellent, right? But there are some little polishing up to do on the last stage, and we will discuss that even further. So I'll open the floor for Loretta. I can see Loretta in here. If you have any insights onto what you think were some of the mistakes you did, or what what you think didn't make you get the role after going through the first interview, second interview, and the third stage. And the third stage was, I think, with 3 or 4. I think she had like 4 or 5 people on the panel, right? But she went through all the way to pass the technical, all the way to the soft skills, the final one with some, higher ups in the organization. Even though she didn't get it, I think she did great. So if you're on here, Loretta, you can give us some insight into what you think were, some of the things you could have done better.
Okay. I think so. For my process was I met with the recruiter first, then I met with the hiring manager, then I met
So
with.
Loretta, kindly hold on. If you can introduce yourself well, and then let
Oh,
us
okay.
know what you are doing now and what are you like, how are you doing your career switch? What have you done in terms of training and how you got
Okay.
this, interview and the whole entire process, and then you can tell us more. Right. So kindly go ahead.
Okay. So, my name is Loretta. I'm originally from Ghana, and I am a dentist, but I moved here in 2024, ending of 2024, and I wanted a job that I can do at home so that I can take care of my baby and all that. So I decided to look into cybersecurity. So I contacted Dr. Drew, and then he spoke to me about how I should go about it. So he recommended the entry level course for me to do. So before I enrolled, he has a course for beginners. That one is free. So I went through it, and then I just wanted to make sure that this is something that I'll be able to do. So I went through it, and then when I finished, I was like, okay, so I think I can do this. So I enrolled onto the course. I did the entry level for the theory aspect, and sincerely, it was a bit challenging because I don't have any IT background at all. And when I started the internship, then it started making sense to me. I started understanding more of what I learned in the entry level course. So um, I I just finished the internship not too long ago, and then I've been doing the application. I'm following the job placement instructions that Dr. Edu has been giving to us. So I've been doing the application, and then I applied to this job for the TPRM, and then I applied, and then the following day I just heard from the recruiter scheduling a meeting with me, and then she talked to me about her company, what they do, what their challenges are with their TPRM team, and then after that, in about 3 days, she scheduled a meeting with the hiring manager. So when I met with the hiring manager, she also spoke about their team and then what they are doing, and then spoke more about their company. She didn't really ask me any technical question. The only thing she asked me concerning cybersecurity was what is risk, the difference between a threat and a vulnerability. And then she asked me the difference between penetration tests and then vulnerability scan. So those are the questions that she asked me. The rest were more on soft skills. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you do for fun? Those kind of things. Then after a week, the recruiter reached out to me that the hiring manager wants me to move on to the next stage. So they scheduled another interview with. I had a project manager, a team manager, a cybersecurity engineer, and then the CISO. And then I didn't miss, it wasn't for them, they didn't do everything on the panel. I met with them individually for 45 minutes each. So throughout the interview, from the recruiter was 45 minutes, the hiring manager was 45 minutes, the team manager, project, everybody was 45 minutes each. And then they asked me to come to their office. So I went to their office. The role is hybrid. So I went to their office, they showed me around, they showed me all the departments and everything. And then, yeah, then later, about a week after that, I received an email that they had moved on, they had offered the role to another candidate. So that's how my experience went. When it comes to what I think I did wrong, the technical aspects, I didn't have any problem with the technical aspects. I think it was mainly on the soft skills part. Because with the soft skills, sincerely, you don't even know whether you are saying the wrong thing or the right thing. So looking back, I felt like I should have been more specific with answering some of the questions in the soft skills the soft skills session. I should have been more specific, and I should have given more of a general overview first before tailoring it to how I will proceed to handle a particular issue. So, for example, I was asked a question on conflict resolution in a team. I went straight ahead and said that I would talk to the person face to face, or I would speak to a higher up to mediate between the two of us. But I felt like, looking back, I should have given them a more general, let's say, talking about how to generally solve conflicts in a team before tailoring it down to how I would go ahead and then solve that. So I'm sure as we go ahead, more questions will come out, and then I can see some of my mistakes. But that's why I feel like I should have tailored my questions more to the more generally before being specific. That's what I think. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Loretta. And if Mariam is around, Mariam can also chime in. Are you on here, Mariam? Trying to, I'm not sure if maybe I think I saw Mariam, but I think maybe she fell off again. But Andy, go ahead. Andy, your hand is up.
Okay. So I just want to add a little bit to what she had just said, or maybe ask her a question. First of all, what was the title for the role she was going for, if I could know?
Yeah, she said TPRM from the beginning.
Okay. So I have also in the past week gone through a series of interviews, and in my situation, I think what my error was, of course, through this training, we just did just GRC training, and I don't have the experience of implementing any tool from the scratch, but the job requirement required that it was a new to the organization, so I was going to help with the implementation. And based on what I had read and seen on YouTube about the implementation of that, I thought I was okay. But I got to a point, I don't know if I had two people, and the organization is a Japanese company who have a representation here. And the two people I was interviewing with, they are Japanese. So they know the organization from their country and brought it here. So in the course of the interview, she asked me a term which I cannot remember now. But the only thing I remember is implementation of GRC. And she did say, he asked me something about W something. So to me, I thought I think what that was is something, a term if you use practically, like in project management we have WBS, which is work breakdown structure, which if that I'd used it severally, I would have been able to understand that. It escaped me. Not escaped me, I didn't know, because I had not done that in practicality. So I came out to find out that there are other jobs which the description talks purely about GRC, incident response, vulnerability scans, and assessing, protecting, that kind of thing. If it had come to that, I would have been able to answer all of that. But because of the technical aspect and the job requirement required that I had an inside out on implementation of SAP, I could have answered if it was something that I've done. So that was the mistake I did, I think.
Okay. So thank you for that insight. But the job that Andy is talking about, it was more of outside the space of what you do for GRC, right? So I think for such jobs, you are kind of stretching yourself a little bit thin. So you have to do a little bit more on the back end to be able to meet up for some of the other like technicalities that will go outside the cybersecurity space. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And this also leads into one of the things that we are going to be discussing tonight, right? And I'm not going to, jump ahead of myself. So let's look into the 5 items, and then we have about 9. So a very interesting discussion for tonight. Now, the very first one that we are going to be looking at is jumping into the question prematurely, like what Andy just said. It's good Andy just brought that up, right? So if they ask you something and you don't really understand what they are asking, don't think asking for clarification means you don't know or it makes you look dumb, or no. It's better for you to get clarification before jumping into a question and assuming what you think is what they are asking. So you don't have the chance to come back when you get it wrong and say, "Oh, I didn't know this was what you were like. This is what you meant." Right. So before answering, make sure you understand the question. So if they threw some acronym at you or some verbiage and you really don't understand what they mean, if you ask them, they will try to break it down. Right. So let's say, for example, I said, what is your experience or how have you implemented SSH in your organization? But maybe you can't remember SSH, but I'm like, SSH, exactly what? Oh, secure shell. That's what I mean, secure shell. Oh, okay, secure shell. Now you can dig more into, explain it, right? But maybe if SSH means something else, because for like Andy's role, he's stretching himself thin because he's trying to, get into a different space outside cybersecurity. Although the company might have some cybersecurity items on their job description, but you are stretching yourself thin. If they come up with some terminology and you're not familiar with it, it's okay to ask, what exactly do you mean by that? Right? If they explain it and break it down and still you don't know, then you don't know. Right? So it might be something the example that Andy was giving, he was thinking it was something else, but for them it's a different thing. So jumping in prematurely into answering your questions, mostly there is no comeback from that, right? If I ask you something and you didn't know and you've answered already. There's no coming back and saying, "Oh, I didn't know this was what you meant," because taking your time to ask, one, you buy yourself time to regroup. Two, it shows you're a critical thinker. You just don't jump into answers by just because you have memorized and you are reciting answers or response that you've just like generated and waiting to just pour it out, right? So it shows you are really into this and you want to take your time to be able to answer it right and answer it correctly, right? So now also, one of the ways around this is to make sure that you are taking your time to understand what they are asking you. So don't be trigger happy. So don't be in a hurry to just answer the question. It's not how fast you answer your question is the one who is going to get it correctly. And during interviews, you know that folks who are interviewing you, one of the key skills that they have is they are indifferent, right? And they are overly nice. Even if you are talking nonsense, they are looking at you and smiling, "Oh, okay, okay, okay," and then taking their notes. They're not going to tell you, you are really talking nonsense. They are going to be nice, super nice, and smile. And you think, but when you are done with the interview, if you are really honest with yourself, you bombed that one or you really messed that one up, right? But they will be overly nice. So that is part of their training, and they are not there to make you feel bad. You you didn't do well yourself. They don't have to tell you, so they don't have to add more salt to your wound, right? So, and two, the second mistake that we make is being overly theoretical. And the example that we just all witnessed, I asked, what is your explanation of DDoS attack, or what do you understand by DDoS attack? And everybody will go through a whole bunch of theoretical definitions. Nobody is able to really break it down into real world, use different simple things that we do to, elaborate on what DDoS attack is. And that is where most of us get it wrong, right? We had one student who went to an interview, I think last week, and an example he gave of a concept is something that I've been giving them in the PCI class. He just, used exactly the same thing, or that is probably even from one of the cyber chats. That was what he told me, right? And the person interviewing him started clapping. There were three on the panel. One of them started clapping and said, "Excellent. That is what I've been waiting for the whole time." They've interviewed almost 100 people for that role. And people came in with theoretical, memorized stuff, prepared responses. And when you go real, you use real world scenario, they know right? You understand it to the point where you can break it down and use something of IT to explain the scenario, to explain the situation. And everybody will appreciate that because your audience, mostly in the GRC space, is not going to be all technical cybersecurity people. Most of your audience, most of your clients, they will be non-technical. Even within your company, most of the people you are going to be dealing with outside IT, they are non-technical. So your senior management, your other stakeholders that you are going to be dealing with, they are not technical. So if you go with DDoS attack, it's a form of attack whereby the attacker is targeting the availability of the organization's infrastructure and reason, right? If you just go technical, it's a form of denial of service attack. And I mean, first off, I don't even know what denial of service attack is, right? So for you to say DDoS is a form of denial of service attack, one, you've lost me right there. And then you go further to explain denial of service attack, and you are using traffic and flooding our network with a bunch of traffic, almost up to whatever, like the example that we're looking at, 7.3 terabytes of traffic. And I don't even know what you're talking about. So no matter how technical whoever is interviewing you is, if you're able to break down, concepts using real world examples, they'll choose you over anybody, right? Because they know you understand what you're talking about. If you just go theoretical, just, reciting and coming up with by the book definitions, it means you've just memorized these and you're just giving textbook answers. And that is what, like, I just asked that question during cyber news. Hey, what do you what is your understanding of DDoS? And everybody who explained it was just going the typical cybersecurity textbook explanation and definition. Every concept, if you understand it, like how you're supposed to understand it, you should try to use every day, like how I'll call it, grandpa style, right? Break it down where your grandmom, your grandpa, you'll be able to explain it to them and they are not there looking at you funny, like, what are you talking about? Right? They will be, oh, okay. So this, and then they'll even give you another example of what you just said. So if it is like this, then it is that, oh yeah, exactly that is what that. Now you know they understand the concept. Because if they ask you about any concept, they don't want textbook definition, or if they want you to break down and explain a situation you were in, try to bring it down to real world examples as much as possible, because most of our answers, they lack real world. We are overly theoretical, right? Now, how to fix this? One, you have to use the STAR method when you're answering your questions, right? So you always come up with a situation, task, action, results. So if my question is, what is your experience, or what is your take on vulnerability management? Or like the example that Loretta was giving, explain what risks, your understanding of risks, vulnerabilities, and threats. What is your understanding of it? Don't go with definitions of risks, vulnerabilities, and threats, right? You can use, different real world like scenarios to be able to explain and break this down. Right. With this, I think for folks who go through the entry level course, when we get to risks, threats, and vulnerabilities, there are a lot of real world examples for you to go, oh, aha, that is, and you can borrow those examples, right? When it comes to identity and access management, there are different real world scenarios, and a very good one that I use all the time is, for IAAA, when the police pulls you over, what is the first thing that they ask for? Identification. So they'll get your ID. Now they'll look at your ID and look at you, make sure if you are a girl, then you give them an ID that is that of a boy. That is a big, question mark. So because after identification, they go into authentication and authorization. So you gave them an ID posing to be, you are claiming an identity, right? Now the next step is for them to authenticate to make sure you are indeed who you say you are. How do they do the authentication? Right. So instead of me just defining what identity is, defining what authentication is, defining authorization, I can use this police pulling you over scenario and go through and explain each single one of these. And you are going to get it for life. You're never going to forget this scenario or this example that I just gave you. Right. So when we are prepping for interviews and for when we are learning, right, or we are doing things in cybersecurity, try and grab something that is real world that you can relate to this. How can I relate this to something that I do on daily basis, right? So if we are talking about incident response, how do we respond to incidents? You can break it down. Look at how the fire department works. They are responding to incidents the whole time. How do they go about it, right? So we shouldn't be overly theoretical. And I'm not also going to, talk about this and be overly theoretical by just reading through this and telling, okay, that is why I'm giving you some scenarios, pointing you in the right direction, giving you, starting that conversation in your head, right? So during our interviews, if you go in there with just theoretical, explanation of things, then we are going to lose our audience, whoever is interviewing us. Now, with GRC tools and framework fluency. Now, for me, this will more be your GRC lingo, right? So for the GRC tools, GRC frameworks, at least you should know one or two. And also, the funny part about this is this wouldn't be a secret before you go to the interview. Mostly, this will be in your job description. So if you are familiar with ISO 27701, but you are not familiar with COBIT or CIS or PCI DSS, and it's on the job description, that on the job description, mostly they're not going to tell you specifically this is the frameworks we use. Some job descriptions will do. Others will say you have to be familiar with frameworks like ISO 27701, COBIT, PCI DSS, HIPAA. If they list any single one they list is something they are using, right? Every framework they list is a framework they are using. If they are not using it, they're not going to list it. Right. Now, granted, they might have one that they might not list, but they are using, but mostly 90% of the time, if they list it, they are using it. So if I'm not familiar with COBIT, PCI, HIPAA, if you go to the interview and you tell them you don't know COBIT, you don't know PCI DSS, you don't know HIPAA, you just shot yourself in the foot. Because it shows that, one, you are not a self-starter. Two, you don't pay attention to detail. Three, probably you are getting into the space of you are not trainable, right? Because they don't expect you to be an expert, and you cannot be an expert in all three, all four, or all 10 frameworks that they have listed. But at least you should know one or two very well. In the rest, you should have a working knowledge of it. So if they listed COBIT, I have never heard COBIT in my life. I will Google it, go to ISAC's website, read more about it, try to see the similarities or the mapping between COBIT and the other frameworks that I know, and be comfortable with it. That is why the interview prep itself is also a very good learning experience, because it exposes you to certain things that maybe probably you might not be necessarily up to speed with, right? So you school yourself on COBIT, you school yourself on PCI. Now, all these, you just have to know what the frameworks are about, be able to speak to it. So these are the key, elements in that framework. And this is some of the key things to look for when you are implementing it. So during interviews, you are not claiming to be an expert in the frameworks that you are not very familiar with, but at least you have a good working knowledge of, based on which they can train you, right? Or based on which you can, train yourself or polish up as you start implementing it within the organization. But at least you should know 2 or 3 that you are comfortable with. So that is why, because for like an example, for the entry-level program and for the GRC internship and workshop, we use CIS controls, NIST Cybersecurity Framework, and ISO 20701. Those are the 3 frameworks that we use to do our audits. We use that to do baselining. We use that to do, I think, 3 projects, right? And then we do mapping between those 3. So if you are preparing for an interview and you see other frameworks outside of that, it is up to you to make sure you have a good working knowledge. Just read around them. That way you can speak intelligently about it during interviews. They don't expect you to be an expert in all 4 or 5, frameworks, right? But if you go in there pulling a blank on the ones you don't know, it means you came in unprepared, right? And that is the last thing you want your employer to see or to know about you. You always come in unprepared. That is not a good sign, right? So, and then also when it comes to the tools, there are hundreds, and I don't even think it's up to thousands, but hundreds of cybersecurity tools out there. You would not know all of them. There are some tools you cannot even afford to buy yourself to practice with, because one, it doesn't even make sense to buy a tool for $15,000 to practice with, because what is the guarantee that the company you are going to get a job in, that is the tool they are using, right? Some have free versions that you can, download and move around and practice with. Others don't. Example, RSA Archer, they don't have any free version, and you are not going to be able to find them anywhere, right? Even I'm not sure if now there are more videos on RSA Archer on YouTube or somewhere, but like 2-3 years ago, it was almost like nothing on it. So all you have to do, and we have students who went to interviews, on their job description, they had it on there that the company was using RSA Archer. That shouldn't deter you. And the students who went for these interviews, they all landed that role, but they've never used RSA Archer in their life. But they knew how to use other tools that we teach in the entry-level course, right? But for RSA Archer, the type that the company was using, read around it, go to RSA Archer's website, look at the specific tool and what the use cases, and speak intelligently to it. During interviews, you tell them you are not a master of RSA Archer by any means, but at least these are the different use cases, and this is what it can be used for, right? So there is nothing like, well, I've never used this tool before. So if you go in there and you are not able to speak to these tools or these frameworks, it means you didn't do your homework, right? You went in there unprepared. You have no excuse, because you are never going to know all the tools. You cannot. It's impossible. You can never know all the frameworks. It's impossible. So don't go like, well, for my training, they only taught me these 3 frameworks. So for the others, nobody. For training that people are going to for GRC training, we will teach you 10 frameworks. All those is just an introduction into those frameworks. It's not, you cannot use that to claim you're a master of any of these frameworks, right? You might as well just Google them and try to, read around them yourselves, because that is exactly what they are giving you in those training. But because for example, for a PCI training, just PCI specialist is 4 months, 3 months of training, 1 month of internship. So if PCI is easy, 4 months, what are we doing? Just, talking about the same thing every day? No, because PCI is really deeper than what you can download online and say, this is the PCI DSS framework, right? And that goes for some of these other frameworks. Some frameworks are simple and easy for you to just go through. Others, you have to really know how to navigate your way through those frameworks. So that is what I mean. You can never master all of them, but at least you have to have a very good working knowledge. And working knowledge, i.e., for some of them, read about it, talk intelligently about it. Key word is you have to be able to talk intelligently about it. That shows you have the potential to, you are trainable, right? So they can, they are willing to work with you on that, rather than coming in and pulling a blank and saying, but I've never used it, right? Saying that doesn't mean you're honest. It simply means you just came in unprepared, right? So let's look at the next item: poor communication, not tailoring to the audience that you are speaking to, right? So using too much jargons, like the example why we started off first, right? Using too much technical terminology without paying attention to whom you are talking to. So, for example, Loretta's last interview, it was with the system admin, with the CISO, with maybe some IT specialist or different people from. So you have to know how you are talking to all these people. Now, if you get into that habit of being able to break complex items down into simple everyday, complex technical items into simple everyday life, it will make your work a bit more easier, right? So rather than just going with purely technical, so know your audience and know how you are going to speak to them. Now, if whoever is interviewing you is your cybersecurity manager, cybersecurity, even them, the technical cybersecurity people, they will appreciate if you're able to break complex security items into simple everyday examples for them to be able to understand, right? Not for them to understand. It's not like they don't understand. They do, but they will see where you're coming from and the effort you are putting into this and how well you understand the concepts and things you are talking about, right? So that will be for the poor communication side. And then also everything so communication is two-way. What we started with, make sure you understand the question they are asking you before you jump in to answer, right? If you don't understand it well, it doesn't. If you ask more questions or you do a follow up, were you trying to? This is what you mean, or this is what you're trying to say? That shows that you really want to. You are not just jumping in to talk or just because you came in prepared with some responses. So that shows you really throws light on you positively than negatively, right? So make sure what you are being asked, you understand it before you try to answer. And then also you do some follow-ups if you think that will help you to also get your point across well, right? So we are going to look at the other ones. But before you do, for folks who join us a bit later, our 4th of July sale is ongoing, 30% off on all courses. This is the biggest we are going to have in the year. So if you want to jump onto any of these courses, this is the time for you to do so. And Climb also is one of our financing partners that we just partnered with, Climb Credit. They approve almost everybody. So you can jump on Climb if you are looking to finance any of these courses as well. And our specialist, AI governance specialist, we are starting a new cohort and later this month, dates yet to be determined, but later next month is going to be in July. And if you are looking to get in front of the AI governance train, kindly do so. This is the best AI program out there. I can assure you that. It comes with internship. It comes with working on real world AI projects. So you are not just going to learn theory. And then also for our cloud security new cohort is also starting in July. So we encourage you to look into this also as well. Vendor neutral. We cover AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. We are looking at the security, how to secure your infrastructure within these 3 service providers. And once you're done, you are ready to sit for any of the cloud security certifications out there, right? And for folks looking to branch into cybersecurity from any field, the good place to start is our cybersecurity entry-level course. Now, this will take you from scratch, build you into a full-blown cybersecurity professional where you can hold different roles in the cybersecurity space, predominantly in the GRC space as well. And you can start this course anytime because the first portion is self-paced and it comes with the workshop and internship as well. Now, GRC, our PCI payment security compliance program, also for folks already in the IT space or cybersecurity space, you can jump onto this. This is a specialty within the cybersecurity space, arguably the most lucrative niche within the cybersecurity space. So the next starting date for this also yet to be determined, probably in July space. So also be on the lookout for that. And our GRC internship and workshop next cohort is on the 26th of July. So if you are waiting to jump onto this, you can use the July 30% promotion going on to jump onto this as well. This is where we move you from theory into doing and working on cybersecurity projects. So you've been learning cybersecurity GRC for a while, it's time for you to bridge the gap between knowledge and skill, right? And our WhatsApp group, the link has been posted, YouTube channel link also posted. We are transmitting live on YouTube as well. And we are moving into our next item, neglecting incident response, real world pressure as well. Now, what do you do in the GRC space? Treating GRC as theoretical, avoiding showcasing how you respond under pressure. This is more on the soft skills. On the soft skills side is where this is going to get you more. GRC goes beyond the theoretical side of what you're going to be doing, right? So how you communicate with people, how you are able to work under pressure and all that is part of what we do in the GRC space. Now, if you are just looking at the theoretical side or just technical, pure cybersecurity GRC space, then you are going to get this wrong. Now, for incident response, actual also that plays a key role in the GRC space. So make sure whatever interview you are going, you are well vested in incident response. For internship, we do incident response tabletop exercises.
To put your bunker.
And we walk you through. So, kindly mute yourself. So we also work on incident response projects. So you get to really see behind the scenes how to put incident response team together, how to be able to do tabletop exercises as well, right? So with that, we'll move into our next item, that is unstructured or useless answers. Now, this is where it gets tricky, because when you give these answers, the person interviewing you, they are smiling at you like you are the best thing that they've ever saw that day, right? Which could be the case, but your answers that you are giving might not be the best answers they are hearing for the day, right? So we have to make sure we are giving the right answers. And how do we really know if you are giving unstructured or useless answers? Now, what word am I looking for? How will this happen in the first place, right? How this happens is if you go in unprepared or if you are caught off guard. Now you start rambling and going around in circles, and you know what you're talking is vague. You're just giving vague and rambling responses. You are not really making sense because you don't really understand or know what you're talking about. And this is partly based on if you've not done what they are asking you and you are posing you've done it, right? So this is really for most people who just come from theoretical, they just did some course, no hands-on experience. And hands-on experience doesn't mean just working with tools and doing scans. That is far from hands-on experience. In the GRC space, hands-on experience is not just doing vulnerability scan, right? Hands-on experience, if I ask you, how do you do policy review? You are not going to use any tool to do policy review, right? So that is actual hands-on. How do you do that? Now, if you've never done that before, then you start giving vague answers and we are rambling, right? But if you've done it before, even if you've not thought it through, because you've done it, you'll be able to give, concise, comprehensive analysis of what you did, right? So giving unstructured or useless answers starts from if you've not done what you are trying to say you've done, right? How do you conduct risk assessment? What is your experience, conducting an audit? You've not done it before. So now you think you are just throwing in things to see which one is going to stick, right? So, and for those who've done the projects and you are still giving unstructured or useless answers, it means you didn't practice your lines. You didn't rehearse answering your questions, right? But mostly, if you've actually done what they are asking you, even no matter how unprepared you are, if you take your time, at least you'll be able to talk through. Maybe you wouldn't be the great of a speaker, but at least you are going to make some sense than somebody who's never done that project and they are just speaking from theoretical standpoint, right? So let's make sure the answers, and this was also going to catch you off guard, giving unstructured, useless answers guess where you are going to find this most of the time. Now, for folks like Loretta, who've gone through the entry level, gone through internship, technical stuff, she's not going to give unstructured and useless answers. I did interview prep with Loretta, and at the point I'm like, I thought she was even reading from a book or something. The answer she was giving me, I could, nothing told me Loretta is trying to do a career switch. She was really on point. And it was very obvious she's done everything that she was telling me, right? I manage and go take them through most of these training. And for you to say something to impress me, it means you're really doing excellent. And I'm like, wow, this. And I even told her at the end of it, I'm like, wow, you like for the technical side, she was excellent. Now I spoke to her after her final interview, which was more soft skills. Some of the answers she was giving, although they don't necessarily fall under unstructured or useless answers, I think they were below her standard when it came to her technical answers. Right. Now, most of it, some of it caught her off guard. So she kind of placed her in the unstructured space. Now, for folks who run into this problem on the technical side for unstructured or useless answers, on the technical side, then it means the training that you had is questionable. And if you are doing self-study and you are just memorizing stuff and passing certifications and trying to learn on your own, you're going to find yourself in this space a lot because you don't have any direct guidance. You are just trying to do this on your own, navigate it on your own. You are going to find yourself mostly in this space a lot, right? And you go to interviews not knowing why they are not moving you forward. And even for you, you are not doing that great. Unless, of course, because you don't know what you don't know, you might think you did excellent and they are not moving you forward, right? So if one, you've done some hands-on, you are not just coming from a point of theory. And two, you practice, rehearse your answers. And three, on the technical side, on the soft skill side, which is the most difficult of all the interviews that you're going to go to, the soft skill side, you make sure you are practicing your soft skills answers using the STAR method, right? So, and we will get more into the soft skills part as we move along. So, enough about this. Let's move on to the next one. Now we've passed the 5, right? Everything else after the 5 is a bonus. So rehearsed scripted answers over practical insights. And I think everything that we're speaking to also kind of talks on these lines. So if you go in with, rehearsed responses to common GRC questions without basing it on real world experience, then that is also going to come off wrong or funny, right? So that is you're still going to box yourself in the theoretical side of things. So there are a lot of questions online, GRC questions, GRC interview questions. There are a lot of them online, right? Where you are going to see some of these common GRC questions. And you might probably just go with that prepared, right? But if you go to interviews with such responses without having any practical insights or adding any practicality to what you're talking about, it's very obvious you've not done what you are trying to talk about and what are employers looking for, what you've done and what you can do, right? So you can come in with a PhD in cybersecurity, 10 certifications. Yes, they're still going to interview you. And during the interview, they want to know what you've done and what you can do. And if you come in with, your script ready to read to them, that is not going to cut it because they can ask you something outside of what you prepared for. And if you've done it, you've actually worked on projects, it's going to show, right? If you've actually worked in a team environment, it is going to show in your delivery, right? So, yes, prepare, read out your answers, say them loud. That is all part of the practice, but you should be flexible and you should go in with some practical insight, right? Now, one of the very serious crimes that we commit during GRC interviews is downplaying soft skills. And this is the most serious of all, downplaying soft skills, right? And this is what is going to get you. So for most students who will not get their job on their first, interviews, when they go all the way to the top, all the way to the third round, It's the soft skills that might make or break you. It's not the technical. For Eretmis, we can tell you that for a fact. It's not the technical know-how or how to do your job or the practical side of doing your job in the GRC security space. Is the technical side, right? If you don't structure you don't prepare, with your well-structured, concepts of how to handle different soft skills scenarios, then you are going to run into that issue, right? So don't be overly prepared when it comes to technical side and overlook the soft skills because you think you are a good speaker, you can talk your way through soft skills questions. And the difficult part about soft skills questions is that you don't know when you are going wrong, right? For technical, I mean, you know it or you don't know it. You've done it or you've not done it. So if you're talking in circles, you are just BSing your way through just to say you've answered that question. But on the soft skill side, you might be pouring your heart out, right? Saying what you think is supposed to be, but to whoever is grading you on the other side, to them you are just talking nonsense, right? So how do you fix this, or how would you be able to make sure you are answering most of your technical, most of your soft skills, or almost all of it, you are answering them using the STAR method. So situation, task, action, results. Situation, task, action, results. That will help you to actually think through, right? And for the soft skills, you have to go in with some scenarios already prepped, right? I know we were talking about rehearsed responses, but the scenarios that you're going in already prepped, it is not a rehearsed response, right? But at least you have different scenarios to pull from. So if they are asking you about conflict resolution, at least you have a similar scenario that you can speak about. And having those scenarios are digging into your own personal experience in the cybersecurity side or outside the cybersecurity side where you worked in a team. Was there a conflict? How did you resolve it? You can jot all of them down. So when you experience these questions, you can easily pull, because for soft skills questions, if you don't prep like that, they are going to always catch you off guard, right? And you don't want that. So you prep accordingly. Now, minimal job specific or company specific prep. What most people also fail to do is they go to the interview in their prep, they totally ignore or forget about the company that they are interviewing with, right? Your responses should be tailored to the company. You should know the company's vision, their mission, what they're about. Because most of the times when people want to do interview prep and you ask them, what does this company do? Yeah, I think they do this. I think that is wrong to begin with. You shouldn't think what they do. You should know for a fact what they do. Right? If you think, then you're not sure. You should know this is what they do. And this is how their security structure looks like. This is where I fit, or this is where this role fits. What do they want you to do? Or what do you think this job description wants you to do? And people start reading the job description to you. I mean, you should have read the job description and summarize what they want you to do to understand it in your own terms, not to read the job description. So if you go to an interview and they ask you, what do you think you are going to do in this role? Oh, wait. And then you go back to the job description and start reading it to them. Yeah, they are the ones who prepared the job description. They're asking you, what is your understanding of the job description? What do you think we want you to do? Right. So every job description, read it and understand it in your own, way. Break it down on, okay, you want me to do A, B, C, D, or these are the exact three main things I'm supposed to do in this role. Everything else is an added on or will come out of the three main things. Right. So study the job description. It should, and also like for everyone who's been with Eretmis for a while, you know that all your responses and the questions that they're going to ask you, your answer should be based on the job description. So why do you want to work for us? It should be based on the job description. How? How are you going to base that on the job description? Why should we employ you over everybody else? It should be based on the job description, right? And how is that supposed to be based on the job description? We are going to give an example of that, right? So And everything else that they are going to ask you should be based on the job description, right? What are some of the frameworks that you are familiar with? It should be based on the job description. You are just going to, mention the frameworks that are on the job description that these companies are using. Don't say something outside, right? So if they ask you, why should we employ you over everybody else? This is a soft skills question. And this question, what is the right or wrong answer to this question? There is no right or wrong answer. There is a lot of wrong answers, but the right answer is it should be based on the job description. So the job description is seeking for, let's say, for example, a cybersecurity analyst, and you're supposed to do A, B, C, D for the company. Mostly, they'll give a summary of what you are going to do for the company before they go into the details of it down the line in the job description. So why should we employ you over everybody else? Now, if you know the company's vision and mission, right, and their values, or what the company values most, that gives you a better picture of their organizational culture. So why should we employ you over everybody else? You should come up with, okay, so the company's vision is this, right? Their mission is this. I can relate to the company's vision, right? And as a security professional, what I'm doing will help the company to focus, or leaders of the company to focus on the vision of the company, to be able to get the company to where they want to get the company to. So in my role, why you should employ me over everybody else is I can relate to the company's vision, and you state the company's vision. And this is what I would do. And what you are going to do is what they are looking for in the job description more. So this is what I'm going to do together with the team to make sure we are keeping the company safe, for the company leaders to focus on the vision of the company, right? To be able to get the company to where they want to get it to. Now, everybody else coming into this interview is talking about, why should we employ you over everybody else? Well, I think I'm the best person for the job because my technical skills include, they start listing their technical skills, and every single question that they are asking you about for soft skills, no question is about you, or the whole interview is not about you. The whole interview is about the company, how you be able to help the company, not you. They don't care about you. That is the sad truth. Right now, you might not also care about the company. You just need a job. Yeah, got it. But if you tell them you don't care about them, you just need a job, nobody's going to give you the job. So you play the game. You care about them more than the owner of the company. Whether that is true or not, that is for you to decide, right? But it's about the company, how you be able to help them. So if you go in there with, this role will help me to develop as a cybersecurity professional, and it will be a professional good for me, really professional good for you, you really think they are there to help you grow professionally? No, they are there to make money as a business, and they can't make money if they are being hacked, or they are always in the news for some cybersecurity stuff. So that is why they're employing cybersecurity professionals to help keep them safe. That way they can focus on the business side of the. So if you have that big picture in mind, everything that you are going to do, you should focus more on the company, prepare specifically for the company. So don't just go through the technical side of everything on the job description, totally forget about the company and what they do, their mission, their vision, and what they really value as a company. Because for the soft skills, that is what is going to set you apart, right? Now, with that, we are going to look at some summary of most of the things that we spoke about, and then we'll give the floor to, if Loretta has some more insight. If we are unable to get to most of the questions, we might probably push that to next week. We have a bunch of questions, and we are going to discuss those questions. So for mistakes and how to fix them, for clarification, we talked about that. You do follow-ups, theoretical, show in experience. So use real-world examples. For weak GRC lingo, make sure you are familiarizing yourself with everything on the job description. For poor communication, make sure you are translating every other technical aspect of what you're talking about into real world. For ignoring soft skills, we've spoken about that already. Vague answers, make sure your answers are structured using the STAR method. Poor prep, make sure you are doing your research into the job description. And I think this is a summary of the summary on there. Now, for mistakes and mindsets, jumping into questions, ask for clarity and listen more. Theoretical stuff, should be grounded in events, practical events, and practical things you've done. And forgetting about soft skills, you should be more aware of soft skills because that is what is going to make or break you. Mumbling your answers or rambling your answers, structured responses using the STAR method is also going to help. And I think so. One size fits all. No, you have to tailor your response to your audience. There is no one size fit all, right? So before we jump into the questions, or we will open the floor for questions and answers. Our July 4th is still on 30%. We just started yesterday, and we go through the usual list. So Climb, you can use Climb to get onto this July 4th promotion as well. And then for our courses, AI Governance Specialist, we are starting a new cohort in July. For the Cloud Security, also starting a new cohort in July. They all come with internship as well. For our entry-level course, you can start that. The first portion is self-paced, so you can start that at any time. And for the internship, we are starting the new cohort also in July 26th. For our PCI DSS, new cohort is probably also starting in July. And GRC internship for folks looking to get some hands-on working on projects. We encourage you to look into our GRC internship and workshop as well. Now, our WhatsApp link has been posted. YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube, Eretmis Cybersecurity, you'll be able to find that on there. We are transmitting live on there. And now we are going to move into, I'm not sure if Mariam is also on here, but we will look at some of the questions briefly. I think we probably will look at, let me see. If there are any questions, you can raise your virtual hand and then we will look at that. But I wanted us to touch on some of the soft skills questions we have the questions from Mariam and Loretta. Okay, so probably we'll look at the one from Loretta, right? That has, I think, some more soft skills in there. So any questions for what we've gone through so far before we look at some of the questions? So Loretta was, are you still here, Loretta?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, she was talking about one of the soft skills questions that about conflict. So now, I mean, we will give you the floor if you want to be more specific on some of the soft skills questions they asked and what your responses were, and then we will dig more into them and see how best you could have answered those, right? Whilst we are looking at some of the questions that you have on here. So can you, if you remember some of them, the soft skills, if you can maybe start with the one about conflict resolution, and then we will, open the floor and we will discuss that a little bit. So what was that question about? Like, what was exactly that question?
So the question was, if you it said if you have done an evaluation of a vendor, and then you think you have classified the vendor as critical, but your colleague has classified the same vendor as not critical, and then both of you are insisting that what you have done is right, what would you say? Like, what would you do? So that was the question.
Okay, so you are a third-party analyst. You are working with another third-party analyst.
Yeah.
And both of you, you've done your evaluation of a vendor and you are done, but the other person is saying, no, there is something more that has to be done. You think you are right. She or he think they are also right. What will you do about it?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And before we ask you what your response was, anybody want to give a shot at this question? Andy, go ahead.
So I would say, to begin with, I would talk to them so that we can make a comparison of our notes on the criteria that we both used to make decision and judgment. And through that, seeing it from the perspective of the other one, you might find the commonalities or the differences. And then based on that, you can figure out what actually the the decision should be. So I would rather talk to the individual and iron it out like that before, because
Okay.
I
So you
mhm.
you spoke to them, you know they are missing a couple of stuff, but they still insist they are right, you are wrong.
So I will have them explain to me their from their perspective perspective what makes them think what they are saying is the right thing, so that I can understand. And after, I would also, or I will begin explaining to them why I think that situation needs to be this way. And then after, I have them explain to me why they think it should go the other way.
Okay. So let's hold our fire right there. Charles, I'll get to you right now. Now, this should have, ordinarily be for our entry-level students, internship students and stuff, but I'm going to give you some real insight into how to answer these questions, right? And for those who pay attention to this, it's going to go a long way to help you. Some people is just going to pass over their head anyways, right? So for soft skills, unlike technical skills, what they ask you is what they are asking you. So if they ask you, how do you conduct risk assessment? There is no trick to it. They want to know how you conduct risk assessment, the steps, the procedures, right? How you go about it, the frameworks that you're going to use. There is no trick. Now, for almost every soft skill question, it's as if there is a trick to what they are asking you, right? So it is up to you to figure out what do they really want. So if they ask you, you are working with your colleague, you've done your assessment, they've done theirs, and they are insisting yours is wrong, theirs is right. How do you deal with this? Why are they asking you this question? Like, what are they trying to get at? What is the bottom line, or like, what is the bottom goal? What are they trying to assess in this question based on your skills and soft skills? I know Loretta brought it up and said conflict resolution. Yes, that is exactly what they are looking for. How do you handle conflict? So they can come up with different scenarios. What they are shooting for is how do you handle conflict? Right. So if before you jump into this answer, you have to know yourself what are the different methods or the different procedures of handling conflicts. You have to know this from conceptual standpoint before you jump into, okay, I will talk to him, I will see from his side of this, I will see can somebody tell me what are, like, this is purely academic, this is purely theoretical. What are some of the theoretical concepts that are out there or theoretical frameworks that are out there in handling conflicts? And I think most of you have not even thought about it that way. For folks who've gone through entry level, it comes with and I think even for PCI, it comes with a job placement assistant course, and all this is in there. What are from theory, is like if I ask you, how do you lead? What is your leadership style? What I'm asking you, I want you to start from the different concepts when it comes to leadership. So are you a transactional leader? Are you a transformational leader? Are you a servant leader? And if you don't know any of these concepts, you just start off from, I help my people out. I really like, what are you, based on what are you really building your leadership strategy? Same thing. So this, the main goal is, how do you handle conflict? It could be conflict between you and your wife, conflict in the church, conflict. What are the laid out concepts and procedures for handling conflict? If you know some of it, You can pick one or two. So this is how I approach conflict. I use this type of concepts. And then you can break that concept down. Use that to explain more what you are going to do in this situation. Hopefully everybody gets that piece. So anybody, as I'm talking, I was expecting, some of you to look online and see conflict resolution strategies. How do you resolve conflicts? There are different types of concepts out there. So you look through and you pick which one best suits your personality, right? So for example, if we were talking about leadership, what is your leadership style? There are different leadership styles and concepts out there. Research and go through them. Find which one best suits what you are doing. So now you can put a word to what you are doing. Probably what you've been doing the whole time is servant leadership. You're not even aware, right? So for when it comes to soft skills questions, you always have to come from a point of knowledge and then you build on it. Because if your answers have no legs to stand on, you are just dangling your answers in front of them and trying to talk. That is how you end up talking and talking and talking in circles, because you don't know where to stop at, because you don't know what is right and what is not right. So you want to talk so much for them to pick and choose from all the, a lot of things you've said to make it fit. Right. So and anybody still on the conflict, what are some of the concepts in handling conflict? Anyone? Who is going to save the day? Damilola, please go ahead. Hopefully I got your name wrong. Right.
Yeah, that's okay, Dr. Odu. Thank you very much. So the different styles of resolving conflict, you have the avoidance, so where you are the type of person that you withdraw from conflict, or you could be the compromising type where you just find some sort of middle ground. Or you could be the very competitive type where you have to always have your way. So it could be one of those.
Okay.
And you so they're expecting you to answer this question based on your preference or your characteristics. So basically it's a question where they want to get to know you and how you would handle that situation. So for me, I'm more of the compromising or avoiding type. So that's the way I would approach the question. Thank you.
Okay. So you see how knowing the approaches will help you to easily maneuver around this question? Excellent. But if you don't know any concepts and you are just speaking, because now Damilola will just, these are the different concepts in handling conflict. For me, my personality and how, I approach stuff, I choose to go with the compromise, right? So in this situation, he says he's right, I'm wrong, and then, you see how I can easily tie that into what Andy was saying. Right. I will see his point of view, and then, we'll come to a compromise. See how that comes together excellently. Now, if Andy just answered like how he answered previously, Domilola came in with, these are the concepts, and then he also said the same thing that Andy said. Whom are you going to choose if you're the hiring manager? The answer is obvious, right? One person is just saying things, he don't even know the science behind what he's saying. The other person understands conflict resolution to the core, and is basing how he operates is based on 2 or 3 approaches that he's combined to make it his own. This is the secret to soft skills questions that you are going to answer in any interview. Right. Now, Kelly, please go ahead. You are unmuted. So kindly go ahead, Kelly.
Yes, like me, I want to see it from like conflict resolution. I think it requires balance of professionalism, empathy, and strategies. In other words, where you wanted to, answer a question like that, first, when a manager or maybe the interviewer throws such question to you, first and foremost, you know that you have to, to solve such situation, you have to avoid taking side, focus on the facts and emotions and stay composed, even if others are not. So for solving such conflict resolution, you have to be focused, identify the root cause of the problem. That is because in the entry level, I think one of the topic is to identify the root cause of problem. I forgot the main topic, but identify the root cause of the problem, which is you have to list all the parties involved, ask open-end questions, and, clarify misunderstanding as assumption.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Kelly. What if I answered this way? So if we are both arguing about who is right, who is wrong, I'll talk to my manager or I'll bring it up to the manager. What is your take on that answer?
Yes.
No, not you, Kelly.
Okay.
Anybody else can also jump in.
You are the avoidant type. Yes.
So
Hi,
yes,
baby.
we know that avoidance is a concept, but when they ask you this question, are they really looking for avoidance, right? Are they looking for you to say, well, I'm just going to ignore the conflict? Because they're actually looking for how are you going to resolve it, right? So there's nothing like I will push it, I'll push the problem to my manager, then we then have to deal with it, right? Because they know your manager is there, but they're asking you, what are you going to do about it? Right. So hopefully we are getting into that mindset.
Yeah. Doctor, can I come in? Please?
Yes, come in, Omar.
Yeah. Emma, in this situation, it looks like this situation is common in the cybersecurity environment. So to my contribution, I'll consult the risk manager to conduct a meeting between all of us, because both of us we are looking the best of the company performance,
Mm-hmm.
So I'll see the company, the manager to conduct a meeting between of us, and over there everybody will bring his part, his contribution, and we'll join together to build up to come up with one best idea to continue with it, with the companies.
Okay,
policy,
Omar. So in addition to your take, now on the job, you might be able to do that, but now you don't have the job. You are coming from the outside, and they want to know how you handle conflict. So if you tell them, once you push it to the manager, then the manager will be handling the conflict now, not you. But they want to know how you handle conflicts.
Yep.
So if you tell them you're going to give it to the manager, they'll say, okay, good, and move on, but they just marked you down. They just graded you 0 on conflict resolution. And they are grading everybody else whom they are interviewing. Right.
Yep.
So what you're saying is, in order to answer this, you first need to use one of the theories and you build upon it on your story.
Yes. So for every soft skills question that they are asking you, there are theoretical approaches to it. Right. Just like even in cybersecurity, everything that we do, there are science behind what we do, theory and concepts, right? So if we have on your network, why do you have a firewall? You have intrusion detection systems. You have different, network security controls in place. Why can't we just have one? What we are doing there is a principle called what? Defense in depth. It's a concept. You see what I mean? So same thing on the soft skill side. Anything they are asking you, you should first ask yourself, why are they asking me this question? What are they getting at? So if they ask you, maybe I'll let you come in, Mike. If they ask you, Mike, give us a scenario where you sold an idea to your boss. what really are they looking at? Like what is the goal? Don't just jump straight into answering it. Ask yourself, why are they asking me this? What are they? Because if you don't speak to what they are looking for, you're not going to get it. Or if your answer is, well, I've never been in such a situation, so I never sold any idea to my boss. Okay, good. But you should you should know you're out of the competition. Right. Or if you say, well, I sold an idea to my boss and he didn't buy it, well, you are out of the competition. But really, I'm opening this up to everybody. What are they really getting at when they ask you, hey, give us a scenario where you sold an idea to your boss? So somebody, okay, in the chat, I can see some answers in there. Every question tests your ability. Okay, Gabriel said every question tests your ability. In this case, collaboration and teamwork is the test. Okay. And I see some collaborative problem. Okay, I think like all these were for the conflict resolution. And Dimi Lola is also saying taking ownership and problem solving. But Mike, I'll give you the floor. What do you think they are looking for if they ask you, what is a scenario where you sold an idea to your boss?
Oh, okay. Before I get to that, I wanted to add something on the conflict resolution. So
Okay.
I am thinking that after we've said everything from the uh, concept and explaining, I am thinking that, okay, so for this risk scoring, we would not do risk scoring out of vacuum. There should be a policy or there should be a risk scoring criteria. So in the process of even resolving this, between me and my partner, we're going to look at what is the risk scoring criteria that we go by in our TPRM program. So are we all going by that risk scoring criteria? So once we should be able to resolve the conflict by looking at the risk scoring criteria that we have in our TPRM program. So there wouldn't be even a need to even call in a superior and manager. So that's what I would have alluded to as in addition to the everything that has been said. I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense. Now we will go on YouTube for a minute. Olatunde was saying yes to, I think, a question that we're asking, and then Olatunde came down here and said, "Wow, I can't believe you are giving this out for free." Right. And then, okay, Ola said conflict resolution for the question that we asked. And Jermaine is saying source of trust, go by company classification. Okay, yes, and come to a consensus. So Jermaine was also talking about how to resolve the conflict. And then Emmanuel, the follow-up question on how to explain DDoS to non-technical person using examples, hands-on training, and I think those are what we have in the YouTube. So YouTube folks, you are not left behind. We're also tracking what you put in on there, right? And Emmanuel also put in something live in there as well. Okay, so now Mike has said his piece. Gabriel, kindly take the floor, and we will be about to wrap up. I know the questions we didn't go through the questions that we got from Mariam and Loretta. We might probably do a question and answer session next week. Go ahead, Gabriel.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adu. I just needed to clarify one or two things from the last speaker as regards defining criticality of a third-party vendor. Criticality in this case explains how essential the services the third-party vendor would be rendering to our organization, and it is largely dependent on the critical missions and objective of the organization. So that's why we can classify certain vendors in just two ways, whether they are critical or non-critical. So at the point where we are measuring the inherent risk in our relationship with that particular vendor is when we bring in the risk scoring, which would help us determine what level of risk are we facing as an organization when we relate with a third-party vendor. So we can now start doing our risk scoring and identifying those risks as either high, low, or medium. So I just needed to clarify the criticality definition in this instance. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Gabriel. So I know we are almost up on time. And if we want to discuss this, we can keep going on and on and on. So just from the chat, seeing Leonard is talking about, I had the first round of interviews a few days ago and only mentioned GRC frameworks and forgot to mention tools as well. Aside this, do you think I still have a chance? Oh, so we will wait. Leonard, we will wait for them
Yes.
to get back and we will see from there. But if yourself, you are
It went
feeling
well,
uneasy.
but I forgot to mention tools. I only mentioned frameworks such as PCI, NIST, ISO 27001.
So if whatever question they asked wasn't specifically on tools and what tools you're familiar with, then I think we should just keep our fingers crossed and see what they come up back with, right?
Okay,
So
she asked
sometimes,
frameworks and tools, but tools was the
okay.
last part and it completely slipped my mind. But it was a
Okay.
pre-screening with a recruiter.
I mean, then I think they should move you forward, right?
Okay.
If it's a pre-screening, then I think like they should move you forward. All right.
Okay,
So
thanks.
whilst we are wrapping up, let's see some shout outs in here. So link to make one-on-one appointments, WhatsApp chat, WhatsApp group, and all of that has been posted in the chat. And for some shout outs, some team lives in there, we have Andy joining us from GE, great GE. Andy, what is GE? Georgia? Okay. So, and then we have Fred from Texas, and we have Pittsburgh, Raleigh, and Lily is okay. Lily, are you joining us from Ghana, Lily? So Lily put Ghana on there. Chicago, Andy, Chicago, Fred, some team lives, TJ, Tampa, and still some team lives. George from Ghana. We have Abraham from New Jersey. Joe joining us from Michigan, and Worcester. Mayo joining us from Worcester, and some team lives in there. Now I like how you're adding the dates to the team lives as well, so which is good. Excellent. So at least subsequent cyber chats will have different names as well. So which is good. And then we have some answers in there, some team lives. And okay, some team lives and some answers in there, some team lives. Bernard joining us from Ghana. And some questions. And we have Rookie joining us from Sterling, Virginia. Derek from Osei. Okay. We have Kelly from Pittsburgh also joining us. And Mohammed, I want to ask about the QSA and ISA for PCI, if you can help understand how to become it. Okay, Rosie joining us from New York. So a quick one before we wrap up. Now, PCI certifications, QSA and ISA, just because Mohammed is asking about it. Now, to become an ISA or QSA, it is attached, those certifications are attached to your companies. You can't be a working ISA or working QSA. So if you want to be a QSA, you have to be working full-time in a QSA company and have the prerequisites needed for a QSA. That is either CISSP or SIM, and CISA or any other auditing certification. I think ISO 20701, lead auditor, either one of those. You have to have one from each session, and then your company will present you to PCI to get the QSA qualification. Now, for ISA, same thing. You have to be working for a company that has to undergo a PCI assessment, and then they can, but that there's no prerequisites. You just have to know what you're doing, and they can send you to the ISA training for you to become a certified ISA. Now, to work in the PCI space, you cannot be an ISA getting into it or a QSA getting into it. So for me, I'm a QSA at Eretmis. If I leave Eretmis today, I'm no more a QSA. I used to be a QSA, but I can't be a floating QSA. I can't be a floating ISA. So hopefully that makes sense. So these certifications are attached to the company, not to the individual. It's not like CISSP or CISA that is yours for life. Anywhere you go, you are a CISA or a CISSP. For ISA, QSAs, they are attached to the company, right? And that is a technique or a way that PCI is using to sanitize the space, because if you have random ISAs working around or QSAs, then they will go to companies doing assessment for them and signing off, and that is not attributed to anybody, because for all companies that work in the, especially for QSA companies who do audits, every PCI also audits our audits. So if the only way they'll be able to keep track and make sure auditors within that space or assessors within that space are doing the right thing is to, if it's attached to the company, then if there are any punitive actions, that goes to the company, right? And then to the individual, right? So you can, to work in the space, you can, if you have the skills and the knowledge, that is enough. And then when you get into a company, you can use them to go get ISA. If it is a QSA company, then you can also piggyback on them to go do your QSA. But if you go through our PCI training, you are ready to work as an ISA anywhere. If you go through the expert, you can do ISA and QSA jobs as well, right? Without that title, like, you don't need the title to be able to work. What you need and what employers are looking for is not the title, because for jobs that you are going to see as part of the qualifications, QSA or ISA, forget HR. HR don't know what they are talking about. It's not like CISSP or CISA that you can have prior to you joining the company. Those certifications you can get only if you work in that company, right? So I don't know why they are listing it as something you need before you join the company. So they just put it there because something has to be there for qualification for a PCI role. But what is there is what I've told you, right? And we have some folks working in the PCI space. Ask them if they were ISAs or QSAs before they got the role. What employers are looking for is what you can do. So kindly pay attention to that. Would you recommend the cloud program or PCI as the next training for someone who finished the GRC internship? So it depends on your career goal, right? If you do the cloud, that is also going to help you in the PCI space and everything else that you're doing in cybersecurity, right? If you do PCI, then you are looking at the niche, just focusing in on PCI, right? So, you can really balance it out and choose out. Anyone will be good. But the cloud will help you in PCI and help you in other places as well, right? And Mohammed said he already have SIM. I interviewed for PCI at Apple. All was about cloud compliance. So it doesn't okay, cloud is very, so yes, cloud compliance or on-prem, it doesn't really change anything when it comes to PCI. The goals, the requirements, how to implement them in the cloud or outside the cloud, it remains the same, right? So in the cloud, you should know how to move in the cloud. Yes, I get that piece. But really, if anything that you're going to do for a PCI interview, you should know and how to maneuver. So if you don't get the role, it's not because of the cloud. You can be well vested in the cloud and still not know PCI. Know how to navigate PCI, know the strategies when it comes to how we move in the PCI space. So if you know that, even if you don't know the cloud that well, you do fine in any interview, right? So that is the trick, Ahmed. Right. So hopefully that helps everyone. We are on 8 minutes past the hour 9. So we are about to wrap up. Charles, please go ahead and we will wrap up.
Yes, sir. I have just a question about the title, where to apply. So like in Walmart, they start people as a coordinator, then you become associate, then we become senior associate, then principal associate, manager, senior manager. So, and some of the title we see like GRC 1, GRC 2. So it was kind of confusing. If you finish the internship, so which title is gonna be like best fit for us, like when we finish?
So when you finish, there's not one title, right? Because we put you in different roles and you are working on different projects. So third party, I mean, Loretta was interviewing for third party role. For third party, GRC specialist, GRC analyst, cybersecurity analyst, incident response, risk analyst, and the list goes on, right? Most of all the projects that you did, you can hold a role in it. So for the roles that you're talking about, cybersecurity risk analyst or GRC analyst, GRC specialist, mostly I wouldn't really hang too much on the job title. Get more deep into the job description, right? What is in there is more important than the job title. A GRC analyst job title might have a different job title, like maybe cybersecurity analyst in a different company, and you are doing almost the same thing, right? So mostly the job titles, yes, give some value to it, but not too much. Look more into the job description, right? So once you finish with the internship, the only role that you cannot hold is penetration tester or ethical hacker, right? Almost aside that, almost everything you should be good for, right?
So like you have like a GRC analyst. Some of them you see GRC analyst 1, GRC analyst 2, GRC analyst principal, GRC
Mhm.
analyst manager. So,
The most
we,
important, look at the job description.
so like if they say 10 years of experience or 5 years of experience or 2 years of experience. So that's why it was a little bit confused for me.
I'm saying first, the most important thing, look at the job description. Is this something that I can do? These are things I can do almost 80, 60, 70% of what is on here. Now, for the work experience, mostly for folks who are not necessarily in IT space and they are trying to do the switch, once you go through our whole entire program, on the technical side, combine it because experience, we are looking at your technical and non-technical. So we are looking at the technical skills you are bringing to the table, and then also your soft skills you are bringing. Now, soft skills can be from anywhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be from cybersecurity, right? So mostly if you combine both, at least for a job that requires 5 years, 6 years of experience, you should be able to do, right? So,
Yes.
and I think for your internship, if you've not graduated, then just wait till you finish. During your job placement, we discuss that more in depth, right?
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Augustine, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir. My question, I hope it's not, off the way. I'm just going through the different payment plans that you have here. You have up to I think 8 payment plans. The last one, which is the 8th one, says 8 payments. It goes for like 8 different payments. Uh, is it possible like I do like every 2 weeks payments, which will just sort of break down my monthly payments to 2? So I do it every paycheck.
So that will, if you reach out to the email that is on the list, you should be able to do that. It's monthly payments. So if you want to do it every 2 weeks, I mean, you can do it on your own, and then for the month, it will be ready to do the monthly payments, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
either or still works. It's monthly payments, so that shouldn't be an issue.
So with the first one, which is the AFAM and the Klarna, that covers the whole payment as well. How does that apply to the 30% if I click that first one?
Okay, so for if you want to use the 30%, then go through Climb.
That's only where the 30% applies.
Yeah, so you can also go through. So for Affirm and the others, you have to select one-time payment. So it will pick but even if it picks the total amount in there, the exact amount that you need from them, you can, make those changes as well as you make the application on their side, right? But mostly Klarna makes it a bit easier, but still you can use Affirm or any of those Afterpay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
so
rather
if you need
just
help, we like if you reach out offline, we'll be able to help you out more.
okay,
Right.
no problem. But that
Yes.
only applies to the one-time payments.
The 30%, yes, applies only to one-time payments.
Oh, too bad. Okay, I get it.
Yes.
Thanks.
For the installment payments, the discount is there's no interest for however long it's taking you to do those payments.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, everyone. Appreciate everybody's time. We're wrapping up for this evening, and hopefully next week, if nothing comes in our way, we might probably do the question and answers, which I think most of you are going to really appreciate. And for our YouTube folks who join us on YouTube, appreciate your time. And we are going to meet same time next week. But the topic, hopefully, if no other topic pushes this out of the way, we will probably do the questions and answers for the interviews that Loretta and Mariam went to. So have a great rest of the weekend. We will meet next week, same time. Stay safe, and we are waiting to see everybody again next week. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ado.